Hi again everyone, how's all doing? So I have here two Lima Class 94xx pannier locomotives that have been sent to me as donations. The one in BR Black was sent to me by David, who sent me the Britannia to repair recently, and the Great Western one was sent by a chap called Terry. Thank you very much to David and Terry for sending these. They're actually quite nice looking models. However, I try to keep my stock LNER, LMS, BR, NBR and Caledonian, so I think I'm going to put these up for charity auction. I'm going to service both of them and make sure they're both running okay, so let's apply power to each of them and see what happens. Okay, let's turn on the power on this one. Nothing. Oh, wee bit of life. Yeah, severe stoppy-startyitis. Right, let's try this one. Well, that's not bad. A bit noisier in reverse. But not too bad at all. So these are, pretty much identical locomotives, so it's interesting to have one running okay and one barely running at all. So we'll get them off to the bench and we'll get a look at them. Right then, a bit of a double header servicing job here. The motor on these will be pretty much the same motor that was in the Lima shunter I worked on in my previous video, so I'm not going to video too much of servicing the motors on these, unless there's anything kind of weird or unusual. As I said, it's interesting that this BR one here runs pretty well and the Great Western one doesn't. Condition-wise, let's just get a look. But the BR one seems to be in pretty good condition. It's got a missing rear coupling. I'll see if I can find one in my spares box. I don't think I do though, so I might have to order one up. It looks like the gears have been well greased. But yeah, it seems in pretty good condition and runs quite well. The Great Western one seems okay. There's a bit of damage to the rear buffer beam, and also the body's on a bit squint. The body seems to be leaning to one side a little bit. So I think I'll quickly strip down this BR one and give it a good service and see if we can find a rear coupling for it. We'll take a closer look at the Great Western one, see why it's not running too well. It possibly just needs a bit of lubrication and a clean up. And we'll see why the body is sitting a little bit squint. So we'll just quickly open up this BR one. Just have a wee look inside. Does that just lift off? Like that. And the weights come off with the... Oh, alright, that's in two parts. That comes off like that. Vacuum pipe popped off. Looks like that's been glued on a few times. So yeah, exactly the same motor as I worked on with the shunter, so I'm not going to bother filming me servicing this. It looks in pretty good condition, reasonably clean, but we'll give it a going over, and I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. Everything looks okay, but there's actually a lot of oil in the commutator. I need to get all that cleaned off. Okay, so that's this one serviced. There is actually a crack on the rear buffer beam, and you can see why. It's those two body parts are a really tight fit, and you've got a little slot there in the rear buffer beam that you've got to hook that lug into, and then there's two little holes with two other little lugs for the other body part, and it's a very tight fit at the front. So yeah, you can see why that gets broken. But this runs fine. It may actually be a little bit noisier than it was because there was so much oil in that commutator. The brushes were being extremely well lubricated, which will reduce noise, but you don't want oil on the commutator. So with that all cleaned off, there'll maybe be a little bit of chatter between the brushes and the commutator for a bit. So it might actually be very slightly noisier now that it's been serviced. But otherwise it runs quite nicely. You can see I've fitted a rear coupling. I just stole that one off my J50 because I don't have any spare, but I'll order some up. So there we go, that's done. But what about this one? Because this one wasn't running well at all, and we have this, I don't know if you can see, but the body's sitting on a bit squint. So let's get a look. Yeah, see, that suddenly comes off an awful lot easier than the other one. Right, take the weight out, and that should then lift off. See, it's broken at the back, so it's easy taking off. Yeah, there doesn't appear to be anything visibly wrong with it. It looks like some very dried up lubrication in the bearing in there. That's probably all it is. Just some dried up grease. So we'll get that cleaned out, and I think this will be okay. I'm more concerned about why the body was squint. So this coal here is not original, it's been stuck in with a piece of card. So, not as good condition as the BR one, but okay, I think it's perfectly acceptable. Let's pop the brushes. And we shall see why this doesn't run too well. That out, that comes. Yeah, commutators, just the usual. Yeah, there's dried up grease in there. I think that's the problem. And we'll give everything a good scoosh and a going over with the manky brush. The gears have been filed, but very coarsely, so I think we'll give them a smooth off. You should always use a very, very fine grit sandpaper for that. A clip of file. Clean the commutator with the old T-cut. Give it a scoosh. Let's get a look at the axles on this. Yeah, a wee bit of oil in there, but do you know what? It's okay. One thing I don't like about these old Limas is the screws are all slot heads and not cross heads. So you tend to slip off them all the time. It's really annoying. Brush is clean. Right, okay. Pop that in there. It'll fit on there like that. So, pop the brushes in. It should go with a battery now. And fit this back in. There, just clips out the front like that. Right, so if I fit the weight in there, let's see if it goes. Here we go. Right, okay. Okay, you can maybe see there just how squint that weight is. It's like it's completely misshapen. You know, the body's never going to sit right with that like that. So I've tried filing it a bit, but no, it's too much. Really, what I need to do is, let's think here, if I clamp that and batter this with a hammer on this side, it might just counter the distortion and make it sit straight. I think I'll need to take it out into the shed and give it a good batter. Okay, so I took this weight out to my shed, stuck it in my vise there, and I gave this side of the weight a good few wallops with a hammer, just to try and bring this side of it down a bit. So let's see if this now sits straight and won't interfere with the body when it's fitted. Well, that looks a bit better. Let's see what happens when we fit the body. Right, we'll try screwing it on at that. It's looking a little better. I think that's a lot better. This is missing its vacuum pipes front and back. I don't have any that'll fit it, but there we go. So there we are, two Lima 94xx's, given a wee service and ready to go. We'll give these a wee run around the track and then we'll get them up onto eBay. Okay, we'll bring the BR one out first. And then the Great Western one. Okay, so there we are, two Lima 94xx panniers ready to go. Of the two, the British Railways one is in much better condition and a slightly better runner. The Great Western one, it had that misshaped weight issue, and the body's had a fair bit of jiggery faffery going on. Also, it's missing its vacuum pipes. Both of these do have a wee bit of a pickup issue going over some points because they only pick up from the front four wheels. On my J50 I put some guitar string pickups onto the rear wheels. I didn't want to mess around with these, I just wanted to leave them as they are. But a good tip is to back off the keeper plate screws a little bit to make sure the axles aren't in place too tightly. But other than that, they'll run fine. But just on particularly on standard points going through the turnout, they might hiccup a wee bit. The link to the eBay listing will be in the description below. But if you are going to bid on them, please bear in mind the condition and running performance of these, especially the Great Western one. To be honest, that one was very nearly scrapbox fodder. So please don't go silly with the bidding. These are not valuable models at all. The money will go to the SSPCA though, so not me. So I'm not ripping anyone off, but just bear in mind, these are not valuable models or good quality models, and they're in a very used condition. Okay folks, thanks very much again to David and Terry for sending me these, and we shall see what's next. Okay folks, catch you later.